What do you see as the future of AI with design, but also just in general?
I mean, it's such a heavy question. It could be so many things. I really enjoy thinking about this through the lens of Marshall McLuhan.
I think I know that name, but can you remind me?
Yeah, so he's actually a Canadian guy. He was a professor at the U of T in the 50s and 60s and 70s, I think. He's basically the grandfather or the godfather of the study of media and technology. So in the 50s, he like really founded the concept of media studies. There was no such field of study of media. So he really pioneered that. And he had like a, anything in the 60s, also like this postmodern like era was very first principles oriented, right? Very
Mm.
much first principle thinking. So he's the one who has that really, really kind of memorable quote that you may or may not have heard. It's called "The medium is the message." Yeah,
Yep.
so that was his
Mm.
phrase. The medium is the message. And, he just has this thought of like media ecology, right? Technology and how technology affects culture. And he really pioneered all this stuff. So I have his book with me at all times on my desk here. It's Understanding Media by Marshall McLuhan. I think this is actually the textbook that he used in his course. It's from 1964. But you'd read this book now and you'd think he's talking about AI. But again, he was such a first principle
Wow.
thinker. He wasn't necessarily talking about AI. He was just talking about just a new technology, a new medium. At the time, you would actually you could argue that he's talking about the television over radio, but he doesn't reference the television like that much. He's not saying I'm talking about the television. He just talks about new technology, but he's talking about first principles. So he doesn't mention the television, but really like it is the television that was what was going on at the time that he wrote this book. The television was a crazy kind of proliferated medium because it went from radio to television in a matter of 2 decades. Like, it went from, like,
Mm.
0.0001% of the household had a TV, and then within 2 decades, it was, like, 97% of households had a TV. 2 decades is,
Wow.
like, really not a long time, especially if you're talking about from the '50s, from, like, 1950 to 1969. It's really not a
Yeah.
long time that just changed the world completely, right? It went from the living room, the TV room, didn't exist. And then after that, every house has a TV room, right? The idea of TV at dinner time and that thing and like getting together and watching news and like how the medium changed. And that's something I like to think about too. The big lesson for me here is the analogy that I always like to share is when the radio first came out, which was taking over the medium of the newspaper, every radio program was somebody reading the newspaper, but it was just they took the previous modality and tried to put it on this new medium. But then over time they realized, oh, well, radio is actually great for music, or you could have a two-way conversation. Somebody could call in and you could have like a game show, or you could have an interview. It could be a conversation, like a podcast type of thing. So the medium radio changed, right? It wasn't just people reading the newspaper.
Mm.
Then when the TV came out, the first TV shows were camera recorded radio broadcasts, right? So they were like what we're doing now. It was like a talk show, but like on
Yeah.
camera, or it would be like a game show, like on camera. And then eventually it changed, and there was like the sitcom, where the sitcom was like
Yeah.
invented, and then like these different types of the game show changed because now they had a set and they had an audience and they had like colors and lights, and they started using the medium to its full potential. So I think we're there now with AI. Is we're using AI today to deliver the content that was the previous form of content, which is like videos and ads and social posts and reels and kind of what people are creating now. People are using AI to make better or faster, but they're still making the same thing. So I wonder, I think really where we're going to go is we're going to come to a point where we're going to realize that actually AI is way more capable than like this medium frame that we're giving it, and they can like bleed into this edges and have these other capabilities that we're not putting together yet, but we will eventually. And I think consumer behavior is going to change a lot once we do that.
I made this podcast because I want to be the person at the city gate to talk to every person coming in and out doing great things with AI and find out what and why, and then share the learnings with everyone else. It would mean a lot if you could share the episode with someone that you think would like it. And if you know someone who would be a great person for me to talk to, let me know. Please reach out to me at Daniel Manary on LinkedIn, or shoot an email to daniel@manary.house, which is Daniel@MANARY.HAUS. Thanks for listening.